Welcome to ATB TV. I'm Darren Dance and I'm here this week with Brian Johnson as usual. Brian, things have changed in a week at Ballarat. We've gone from very warm, hot weather to I think it's currently 13 degrees outside and very windy. So after last week being in the gardens with Billy, he didn't go too good, did he, Billy?
Yeah, I think he lost his head actually, Darren, Billy, and I don't think he'll be back after tipping means a lot because it means nothing now.
Well, we gave him the chop from here, so Billy's gone. So we had to find a new venue, one where we could be out of the wind, and we were looking for a nice warm office somewhere and one that wasn't being used. And we're sitting here in the CEO office of the Ballarat Turf Club. It's obviously a vacant office. There seems to be a bit of dust here, Brian. Has anyone seen the CEO lately?
I haven't seen him since Ballarat Cup days. I don't know what he's been doing, but there's a lot of dust in here, Darren, and probably time they got a cleaner in, I think.
What's his name?
I think Lachlan McKenzie.
Lachlan. Yeah, I've heard of him, but I haven't seen him for a long time. So we're just going to use the Ballarat Turf Club offices today because no one else is.
And while we are here, Darren, there's been some big news today from ATB.
Big news, yes. Today we announced that we have secured controlling interest in a Melbourne Cup prospect called Seismos, currently trained in Germany, and he's racing this weekend in Germany as a lead up towards Dubai on the Dubai Carnival, and then we'll transfer him across to the stables of Marco Body in Newmarket to join Tactor Boystron, Dandino and Collini. So we'll have 4 horses in there with Marco, and 3 of them will be set for the Caulfield Melbourne Cup. So it's very exciting news.
And there's still shares left available, I guess?
Very few, only just a few little small shares that hopefully will get fully subscribed in the next 24 hours. But if you do see this video and you're looking for a little share in a horse that's already got 54 kilos in the Melbourne Cup, so if we can preserve that rating and that weight, he will be actually guaranteed to start in the Melbourne Cup. So that's pretty exciting, isn't it?
It is exciting, especially when we can get Dandino back again in the same race. So that'll like to ask you on Melbourne Cup to who you like.
Yeah, we might have 3 lining up in the Caulfield Melbourne Cup, but it's a long way away. But I think we've got the right horses, and very much looking forward to it. All right, well, let's run through what happened last week. And let's start with that horse at Seymour, Brian, Edge of War. It can't win, but it'll be putting in the big strides late.
Yeah, and it did put in the big strides late. It was a fantastic ride, bred well. The horse looked like it had no hope, probably the 500 or 600, but he found a way through the field, and geez, he strode home late, didn't he, the last 200 metres. Big win. He's
a good horse, isn't he? Like, he's had a lot of bad luck, but the trainer said he'd need to run, so that shows you what they know. We then went off to Moonee Valley on Friday night with 4 runners. We didn't strike a blow there, Brian, but quickly running through them. The Matty Williams trainer already like her. I think the whole event of the lights and the night meeting and going to Moonee Valley, it all got on top of her. She was on inside rail and she over-raced. She resented the horses on her outside. Craig Newitt said she's got a good motor, but she just needs a bit more experience. So we forgive her. She'll go to Sandown in a couple of weeks. Jelly Baby was in the distance race. Looked the winner 800 out, but just got pushed off the track 5 wide for the last 800. The Mick Kent trained Jelly Baby. She's not far off a win. I thought Tayu was fantastic late, Brian. Drawn wide back last, and he really zipped home, and another 50 metres he would have won.
Yeah, a little bit like Edge of War, a little bit. Just got to the line really nicely. The winner's pretty smart too, won well. He came from a fair way back and did a good job.
We had a long time in that race, and she pulled up with a little issue, so you won't see her. She'll have to go to the paddock, but she's better than that. And even though she ran 5th, she just pulled up with a little issue, so she'll be going out. Then we went off to Geelong on Sunday, Brian, Ticket to Toorak.
We did, and we actually hear the owners in the mounting out after the race. It's a pity TVN didn't show them for a bit longer than a few seconds, because that's what you want to see at the race, is your owners winning, your owners happy. And Matty Williams has done a great job with this horse, placing it for multiple wins this time in, and I think he's capable of winning in town, this horse, because he did beat Iconic at his first start, and Iconic's ran 2nd at group level.
I'll tell you what, he's a very smart horse, Ticket to Toorak, and it's a credit to Matthew Williams with the job he's done. The big beater, it's on fire down there at Warrnambool. He's having a good run at the moment, and he's turning those horses out very well, and it's a credit to him because that horse got headed and fought back. It was a strong win. We went down to Sandown yesterday, and your horse was Sons, but she ran dismally, Brian. She's a mare. I think what the lesson here is that when these mares, when they find form, they hold form, they race well for a number of starts, and then when they drop off, they really drop off. So she's crying out for the paddock, and that's where she'll be very quickly. Well, today at Bendigo, we sent Liz up to the Bendigo today to do the races, and she's up there and she's already got one winner home in Host Me. I couldn't believe it. 2,400 metres. She's had about 8 or 9 starts, a lot of placings. A bad effort last time at Caulfield, but when things didn't work out, and she's gone to Bendigo today, Brian, you wouldn't want to know. She's won by 7 lengths. And now we've got Sir Dylan coming up this evening at about 4:40 at Bendigo. So are we going to preempt what's going to happen there and go for 2 weeks in a row after I potted Edge of War. What are we going to say about Sir Dylan?
Well, I think he'll be putting in the big strides late, Darren, Sir Dylan. What do you think? Can he win?
The trainer thinks he can win, Brian, so
Right.
I'm not sure whether we take any notice of Victoria's leading trainer, Mr. Weir, or not. Well, Brian, let's have a look at this week's runners coming up. We start tomorrow, Friday, at Donald with Jen Y. Now, she's duly engaged for Donald and Camperdown on Sunday, so she's been working well. She's first up off a break.
So you probably start tomorrow, Darren, I think, Donald?
I'm not sure. I think Darren wanted to have a look at the barrier and the fields, but I think either way, she's got to be some sort of each-way chance.
Yeah, probably solid each-way chance.
Then Friday night, we're off to the Valley. Ticket to Toorak, backing up off Sunday's win at Geelong in the final of that series, Brian. He's drawn off the track, but I don't think it's going to matter because he's a horse that'll jump forward and sit outside the leader, and I think he's into that race up to his ears.
He is. It's not a bad little field either. He's going to need a little bit of luck early from the white gate. If he can get across into like the lead or get a good spot on the pace, it'll be good. But if he sort of gets stuck, he's going to have a bit of trouble. But that's what they get the good jockeys for, Darren.
Yeah, I think so. I think if he backs up from Sunday and he can sit outside the leader, they're going to know he's in the race, Brian. And then up in Canterbury Friday night for Largo, the Fastnet Rock Chris Waller trained horse. He's running over distance, and Chris is pretty confident about his chances after a very strange run last time.
He's very boyish, and he's also been entered for the Derby, has he not, Darren, this horse?
Yeah, I see he's in there on Champions Day. We've actually got 3 entries on Champions Day up there with Rockalicious, your horse, and Platelet, and also for Largo. So I guess we're looking forward to that Sydney Carnival later in the year.
That'd be good. This horse is going to be competing in that, and it needs to probably go well here, doesn't it?
Well, I wouldn't have thought he'd enter an Australian Derby if he couldn't think it would win a Friday night race in Sydney.
Exactly.
And then we go down to Caulfield on Blue Diamond Day, and in the Zetative Stakes, we've got Clairvaux lining up in a field that you'd have to think he's got a chance.
Clairvaux looks nicely placed here. Look, it didn't handle it down the straight, did it? It got a bit lost, but I think around Caulfield you're going to see it probably held back for a bit of a late run.
Yeah, I agree. I think he ran good at Flemington, lost in the straight, hit the line, then he went back to Warrnambool and he really hit the line great and won, and he's in great form, and I think he deserves his chance to go to Melbourne. And you know, I think the Zetative Stakes, whilst at the start of the prep you would say no hope, but looking at the field, it's an even race. He deserves his spot, and good on Matty for having the guts to take him to town and have a crack at some of these good races.
Well, exactly. You'll never know if you don't ever go. So I think he can finish like top 4.
I agree. And then just looking forward, we've got the early entries for next week. So Tuesday at Warrnambool, we look like having possibly 3 runners. Schwa City, Change Course, and Princess Hussey all going down there. And then Wednesday at Sandown, the early noms, we've got Tayou and Edge of War in there. Well, Caulfield, Blue Diamond Day. That's one of the great days of racing in Victoria in the autumn. Everyone thinks it's a 2-horse race with Earthquake and Rubik. They haven't drawn that good in 15 and 10. I want you to tell us who you think can win outside of those 2.
Well, I'd probably be looking at a horse like No Yelly, I think, Darren, trained by Gay Waterhouse. Drawn okay, going to be racing up on the pace, and all Waterhouse's horses are pretty fit when they come into a Group 1 race.
Is it going to be over 5 to 1, Brian? So I don't want any short price favourites here.
Who are you? Kevin Bartlett? I don't know. I think it was going to be double figures. I think those 2 are only 2 horses. I think Chivalry's the only one under double figures. There's probably a fair chance you'll go for that, Darren.
I like Chivalry, only because I'm looking at you, Brian, and there's no resemblance. So I'm going with Chivalry. You're going with?
No Yelly each way.
There you go. If you don't want to back the favourites, have a crack at one of them. You might get a return. Brian, 4 Tracks 4 Kids, March the 7th, and you're playing.
I am playing, Darren, and I'm a little bit more prepared than last year, because last year I couldn't walk for 42 days after doing it. I was pretty fresh. I went in fresh off a 20-year break.
You look like you lost a little bit of weight from this angle. So what's going on?
Well, I've been walking 6Ks a day, Darren, for the whole month. I've been calling it Febrathon 2014. So I think I've walked 54K since I've seen you last.
If you can walk 54 k's in a week, you mustn't have a real job.
Well, that's why I'm in this office, Darren. If I haven't got a job, I may as well be in this office.
All right, so it's a great cause. 4 Tracks for Kids. A lot of money gets raised for
The Doxa Youth Foundation and also the National Jockeys Trust. It's a bit of a money gets shared out between those two, and it's a great initiative from Richie Callender, who started a couple of years ago in Sydney and brought it down to Melbourne. And I think this year there's about 130 already signed up, but there's not many ATB owners, Darren.
How much have you raised so far, Brian?
Raised, I think around 2,000.
$2,000 you've raised. So come on, owners out there, tip in. Go to 4 Tracks for Kids, find BJ, and pledge a bit of money. $20, $50, it all helps. He's up there, he's got $2,000 and we need more. Also, we need some owners to walk with him. He's going to start from Sandown and go all the way to Flemington. Is it 42 k's?
It's around 42, 41, 42 k's.
But you don't have to walk the whole way. You can start off at Caulfield, you can start off at Flemington even, I guess.
Yeah, and it finishes at Moonee Valley, and it finishes with the Doxa lunch in the afternoon with special guest Chris Waller. So if we can get 10 people, or 9 people besides myself at a table, it'd be great. We can probably raise some more money and then have the owners come there for the day.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brian, if we can get 9 people out there to join you in that walk and raise money for this great initiative, I will pay for lunch for a table of 10. So yourself and the first 9 people that contact us and say they want to participate in the 4 Tracks for 4 Kids. So come on, get involved and we'll buy you lunch.
And the good thing is, Darren, as well as raising money, you also lose weight, so it's a double banger.
Well, come on guys, get involved. I won't be there, but enjoy. And Brian, the ATB tipping kicks off this week.
Does kick off this week, Darren, with 12 group races at Caulfield and also at Randwick in Sydney. So there's 8 in Caulfield and 4 in Sydney. So it's a big day of tipping. There's no double points this time in.
So come on guys, if you want to play ATB tipping, you need to sign up today. You need to get involved. The tips have got to be in by lunchtime on Saturday.
Lunchtime on Saturday, yep. First prize to the winning tips is a trip for 2 to the Golden Slipper in Sydney with all expenses paid from any capital city in Australia. Centrebet sponsoring the tipping, as you can see on the thing. There's a Centrebet logo there. Centrebet's paying for the tipping, and they're also putting in a $100 weekly prize. The spring tipping winner Nathan Bennett, he's been studying the form since the nominations come out on Monday.
I saw a little bit of feedback from the early market in the ATB tipping, Brian. There was a few emails flying around that a couple of owners were sitting at 1,000 to 1 and not happy about it.
I don't know. I can't believe Phil Britton was like 1,000. I'd have probably Phil about 2,000 to 1.
That market, I think, might be accurate, and you're going to have to go for value. And we talk about value, which means you're going to have to find winners at $5 or better.
Exactly. And speaking of value, Dean Elliott from Centrebet's added a bit more value to the tipping, and the first person that emails the above email showing on the screen now with the time that the Centrebet logo first showed on ATB TV will win a $100 free bet thanks to Dean Elliott and Centrebet.
Who is Dean Elliott, Brian? Does anyone know who Dean Elliott is? We hear about Dean Elliott at Centrebet. It's like Lachlan McKenzie at the Ballarat Turf Club, but can we get him on here to find out who he is?
We can. They call him the Centrebet Kid, Darren. It's his moniker at Centrebet. So we'll try and get him on next week, all going well.
You think if he worked for a betting mob, he'd be able to tip a winner somewhere, wouldn't you?
Well, I think the last tip he had, I think he gave out was Black Caviar, Darren. He tipped it 25 times. And outside of that, I don't know any horses that he tipped that have won.
Well, Brian, I think that's a wrap for ATB TV this week. Looking forward to the Blue Diamond, looking forward to the tipping starting. I've got to go home and put my own tips in. I think I finished about 4th last year.
Yeah, great effort.
But just remember, if you don't own a share in a horse, you cannot win the major prize.
Exactly, and also I think Dean Elliott's actually going to enter the competition, so anyone who finishes above Dean at the end of the competition goes into the draw to win a table for 4 people at either the MCG or the races.
Until next week, Darren Dance, Brian Johnson,